Hi, I'm with Marcel, Dorff, and we're going to break down this week's card of Holm versus Aldana. But first of all, I just want to have a quick recap of what happened last week between Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa. Did you see the way that fight was going? Did you think Israel was going to look so good in that fight, or were you expecting a more closer fight than that?
I expected Costa to do better in the first rounds, and I expected Adesanya to take over around end second round, beginning third round, and then probably finishing him in the fourth or fifth round. That's what I expected. But man, it was a weird game plan that Costa had. I don't know what he was doing there, but yeah, I mean, we can't say anything less than that. Adesanya did great. He did perfect. Costa was pretty much nowhere in that fight. Wasn't impressed at all. I think nobody was. So yeah, good for Adesanya. Good win, solid win.
And also, I think obviously Costa's game plan might be in the best, but he just couldn't land anything on him. Israel was just evading every single shot he was doing. I don't think it was that much of a different game plan as normal. It's just that Israel's fight IQ is just so good. Like, that's what you expect from these kickboxers. They have a very high IQ because they're very aware of the space around them. And I feel like he was aware of his surroundings there, and I felt like he just picked Costa up. What do you think of what people have been saying about his tech area? They're saying it was a bit like his right one was a bit weird or something. They're saying that he might be on like steroids or something. Did you notice that? I didn't really notice that until I watched someone point it out.
Yeah, same like you. I also didn't saw it until somebody pointed out. The thing for me always is like, if you don't get caught, you haven't cheated. That's how I look at it, because there is no evidence. If there is no evidence, you can't say he cheated. Yeah, maybe you can say he looked like he cheated, but if there is no evidence, you have no proof, and when there is no proof, you can't say he did it. That's my opinion. So we gotta wait. Listen, man. I mean, if there is no proof, there is no proof, and if there's no evidence, he didn't do it, in my opinion. So unless there is evidence, he didn't do it, in my opinion. And I think it's too much focus on that right now, because I don't think it should be focused on that unless it's for real.
And also, I feel like a lot of people wanted Israel to lose, so they're trying to come up with an excuse now, saying that he's on steroids. But Israel seems like one of the least guys. If anyone's going to be on it, it doesn't seem like Israel would be on it, because obviously he's a guy who seems with high moles. Like, you saw how annoyed he got with people missing weight, and I feel like he's just got very strong moles, and I just don't think he would do it. I think he's a very clean athlete, and it's not been an issue before. I think his trainer or someone, his doctor, said it could be a bunch of different reasons why it's like that. I can't remember what it's called. I think there's a specific name for it. I can't remember what it is. But overall, who would you like to see him fight next after such a strong performance? Like, who would be your favourite opponent possibly for him?
It's probably the winner of Whitaker Adesanya, right? I mean, if Whitaker wins, he got 2 wins still, and Cannonier, and he deserves a rematch, in my opinion. If Cannonier wins against Whitaker, he definitely deserves to fight Adesanya. So that's what I hope. I absolutely don't hope we're going to see a crossover like a champion versus champion fight again, because that only staggers divisions right now. You want to go through with the division, want to go further. That's what I like to see.
Could you also do, maybe, if Whitaker was to win, could you do Jack and Manson versus Darren Till winner, so it's a bit more of a fresher match? Because Manson, I know he's coming off a loss to Cannonier, but he's beating Kelvin Gastelum. If he beats Darren Till, surely he could be a guy next in line. What do you think of that, possibly?
Yeah, the thing is, for example, if Cannonier wins, and for example, you say Hermanson wins, I mean, then it's obviously going to be Cannonier, in my opinion. But yeah, if Till wins, for example, I don't think Till will get it if he wins. I think he needs at least one more. That's what I think. And I really think it's Cannonier or Whitaker. I don't mind if Hermanson gets the fight, but it would be kind of weird if Whitaker wins against Cannonier and Hermanson wins against Till. That Hermanson gets the fight while Whitaker has beat Till and Cannonier. That would be weird. But you never know, man. It's the UFC. They do what they want. So yeah.
Yeah, I get that a lot. And I was just thinking about more because we only saw that fight last year, so I was thinking more like maybe Hermanson would have been the fresher matchup, but obviously Whitaker's the bigger name, so I'm not sure. I think Tim possibly would get the title shot just because he's a big name, and I think they've already had kind of like a good back and forth between Israel and Danto already, and I feel like that's a very big fight to make in terms of marketable wise. I think, especially if it was to happen in Europe, if the pandemic obviously gets better over here, they could easily sell out a show at Wembley Arena or somewhere like that. But we shall see what happens with him. Obviously, he's promised Cannonier his match if he beats Whitaker. So there's a lot of good options. The division's really good at the moment for good prospects and good veterans in it. Obviously, you've got Derek Brunson, who might be close to getting a title shot. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He might be only a win away. I want to recap quickly the co-main event between Jan Blachowicz, I'm not sure if I pronounced his name right, versus Dominic Reyes. Obviously, I'm very happy for Jan because obviously I support most Europeans when they fight. And the fact that he did it at he's been through the ringer in the division. Obviously, he's 37 years of age. Finally, he gets his big moment. What did you make of his performance?
Man, it's crazy, man. I remember that he was fighting for his career in the UFC against Devin Clark, and actually picked Devin Clark to beat him that night. So he got that kind of a standing bulldog choke or something. And after that, he did very well, man. I think he only lost to Thiago Santos, right? And after he won pretty much all other fights, and I was very impressed. I didn't expect him to win against Reyes, but all power to him, and I'm happy for him. He gets the respect in Poland, which is really cool. Video I saw with I think it's a Polish president. I don't know what they're if they have a president or a king or whatever. I have no idea. I'm not from Poland, so yeah. But it's cool. He gets a recognition and yeah, deserved win, good win, solid win. I mean, Reyes wasn't finished yet, or hadn't been finished in his career first time. So yeah.
And obviously, Reyes is a guy who arguably beat John Jones as well. Some people had it 3-2 to Reyes. I thought he won the fight, but that's neither here or there. But what did you make of Reyes' performance? Do you think it was like the classic kind of like come down from such a strong performance and maybe all the pressure was on him? Because people weren't really talking about Jan, were they? It was all Reyes, wasn't it, at that time? So what do you think? What did you think of his performance?
It's hard to say, man. I mean, I think maybe Reyes underestimated Jan, like many of, I don't know if you, but many of us did. You know, I did for sure. So maybe he did as well. He knew he was very close beating John Jones. Many people think he beat John Jones. So I mean, if you then fight Jan Blachowicz, you think probably like if I fight like I fought John Jones, I'll be champion. You know, and in his mind maybe he was already the champion. I don't know. I can't see in his mind, but yeah, he will be back, man. He's a good fighter. So, but it wasn't this night. It was Blachowicz nights. So yeah.
And obviously now that division is a lot more interesting now. It's a lot more wide open. Like with Jan, obviously he's a very good fighter, but you just think with his age, maybe a guy like Rakic or Yuri Prochaska, one of these guys, their youth might be on their side, and it depends on how he deals with those big shots now as well. Obviously, he didn't take much punishment against Reyes, but he's got a lot of mileage under his career. But I'm happy for him. It was a big moment in his career. He deserves it. Is there anyone on that card that was one of the biggest spotlights for you? Maybe like on the prelims or anything?
I mean, Brandon Royval looked good against Kai Kara France. Don't forget about 39-year-old last Ultimate Fighter winner Juan Espino, who got a great win. He's older than the first Ultimate Fighter winner, Diego Sanchez, who was also on the card. That wasn't a great performance, by the way, against Jake Matthews. I think Ludovic Klein looked good against Shane Young. You know, despite the weight missing, I know people make a really bad thing about it. I don't like it either, but I cut him some slack because it was short notice. You know. And Subairo missing weight, I don't cut him some slack because that wasn't short notice. But that fight, man, I mean, I got some shit over me for that fight, but I think he won that fight first and second round. I had the third round definitely for Hakeem Dawodu. Um, and also Zubaira said, like, he posted like 24 hours ago, like, I'm pissed off about myself. I thought I won round one and two, and I didn't want to take any risk in round three, which I should have done. And I lost, so I'll be back. So yeah, we'll see what's gonna happen, man. I think Dawodu is a fun fighter. Tugov is a fun fighter. Lerone Murphy is coming up from England, is a fun fighter. The featherweight division is great, man. I really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've always said the bantamweight and featherweight division is a division where guys outside the top 15 and the top 25, 30 guys could beat some of the guys in the top 15. It's just that stacked. And you got look at Lerone Murphy. He's fought top prospects in his first two fights. Obviously, Ricardo Ramos he beat. He was a very good fighter. Big
Yeah.
BJ guy. And he was like, I'll just test my skills against him on the ground, and he did really well. And then he got a draw to Zubaria, which I thought he did really well. And so, was that on short notice as well when he took on Zubaria?
That's a good question. I think it was. I'm not sure. It was also in Abu Dhabi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on the Poirier card, I think.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a short notice. I don't know for sure. I heard that Lerone have a new fight, but I don't know against who. So
I hope it's against a top 20 guy. I think he deserves it. Or a top 25 guy, maybe a guy. I wanted to see him against Andre Philly, but he's fighting Bryce Mitchell. So, and Elkins has got a fight against Garagori. So, struggling to think who it might be. Could be Herbert Burns, maybe, but I'm not too sure. But there's just so many possibilities in that division. Obviously now, also Brad Riddle also had a great performance in the lightweight division. How much do you think he can go far in the lightweight division? Do you reckon he could be a top 15 very soon?
we're talking about now. Sorry, I didn't catch it.
Brad Riddle.
Bradford. I know about Brad Riddle, man. I mean, he did good against Magomed Mustafayev in this last fight, but the fight after that, like last weekend against Alex Leko, I think the first round was for Leko. He took over the second and third round, but I mean, it's hard to measure for me because I think Mustafayev is a better fighter than Alex Leko da Silva, you know, and it was kind of a weird matchmaking to me. This one, I think it was to give him some more shine here. Yeah, he can come far in the division. I think he's a talented guy, but I have to see more. I have to see him against a better opponent, and I don't think that the from Mustafayev to Alex Leko made sense at all. I asked many people what they thought about that matchup, and were all like, "That's a weird matchup," you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, probably maybe the UFC just look at his record and it was like 22-2. That's a good fighter for him, and that makes sense, you know. And but people look to records. Let's be honest, man. If you don't know the fighters, you're gonna look up the record and it's like, wow, 22-2, he should be good, you know. But if you look who was on his record, it's like, you know. But yeah, good win for Riddell, and look forward to see him again. But I don't know, man. I have to see him against better opponents to really know how good he is.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't really like that fight either. I don't think Alex Silva's a bad fighter. I just feel like he's 24 now. He's coming off a good win. I think they could have built him up. I feel like he's such a young age. He's got a 1-2 record now in the UFC, and I'm thinking, well, that's just going to damage him. You could have given Riddell, a Jim Miller, or someone like that.
Give him Vince Pichel.
Yeah, exactly. They could have done that. We just could have given someone a top 30 guy and let Alex De Silva build his name up, and they could have done that down the line. But UFC like doing that. They like putting their prospects against high contenders or guys who are more established when they're not ready. So hopefully that changes. Like the thing with Chimaev. Like I didn't like the Maia fight. I feel like you're just rushing him. He's 26. If he was like 31 years old, 32, then yes, it makes sense to rush him. But he's 26, and he's not even fought at welterweight. Well, he's fought once against Reece McKee, but he's not a welterweight. So, what do you think? How they've been progressing him? Do you feel like they need to calm it down a bit, or do you reckon he's ready for the top 10?
The thing is, I don't like the Maya fight because there's a possibility that Maya gets knocked out in that fight. And I mean, Maya's great. We know he's a great Brazil Jiu-Jitsu fighter, probably maybe the best one ever fought in the UFC, definitely in the new era. But the thing is, he can get knocked out against Chimaev, and Maya maybe only wants one more fight in the UFC, and I don't like to see him go out like that. So I'm happy they're not going to do that fight. What I think about Chimaev, I think he has every tool to be a champion in the UFC. His wrestling look good, the stand-up look good. Do they rush him too quick? I don't know, man. I mean, I thought Mershad would be a good measure to see where he's at, and within 20 seconds the thing was over, so we still really don't know. We know we have power, knockout power, but we still don't know too much, and but like I said to other people, and Brave, he fought some good competition as well, and so I don't know, man. What we will see what's going to happen. I know I actually maybe totally what you think, but I even proposed, like, if Leon Edwards doesn't have a fight and nobody wants to fight him, and Chimaev wants to fight everybody, and he has the hype, and Edwards doesn't have the hype, and you're Leon Edwards, and you're like, I'm better than this dude, I can take his hype. Take his hype, fight him. I don't, I understand ranking wise doesn't make sense, but you want to stay active, man. And if you think you're better, you should beat him, and then you also probably get the respect from the casual fan, who really doesn't give Leon Edwards any respect. And listen, man, as a fan, I respect Leon Edwards as a fighter. I think he's a solid fighter. But as a fan, he also doesn't do anything to me. I'm like, yeah, Leon Edwards fight. I'm not a big on hype at all. I watch fights. I like watching fights, but Leon Edwards doesn't bring anything extra. Like, wow, you want to see him fight. Only the people from England are like, Leon Edwards, let's go. Darren Till has that thing that he brings extra, but I think Leon Edwards is a more complete fighter than Darren Till. Darren Till is more a striker, and Leon Edwards can strike and can grapple. So yeah, that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, I think I'd have liked to see Thompson versus Edwards. I think that was a fact that would have made a lot of sense. Well, topology have it that Thompson is fighting Chimaev next, but Thompson has come out and said he's not interested in that fight, so I'm not too sure whether that's just Thompson trying to.
The problem with the reporting in this one is that Combate said on Saturday that the UFC wants Chimaev against Thompson, and if that doesn't happen, they want him to fight Edwards. Then after that, Dana came to the presser, and he's like, we want that fight, but Thompson is likely not accepting the fight, But we never talked about Chimaev against Edwards, so it's a little bit like pre-announced, So there's always a thing with listen, man, Combate is great, but there's always a thing with foreign outlets. You gotta how do you say that? Translate it well, because sometimes it doesn't really translate well, and then you'll see. Listen, man, when somebody posts something like that and it's like it's in the works, another page will say Chimaev fighting Thompson, and the other page will say it's set. It's not set. It's just talks, and they want that fight, but we don't know if it's gonna happen. We'll see. Probably not, because Thompson doesn't want it, apparently, so can't blame him, right? He's higher ranked. Chimaev's not ranked at all, so.
I thought it would just make more sense for Chimaev to fight someone like Krzysztof Jotko. I know he's fighting Miodov or Antonio Carlos Jr. because he's had 2 fights in the middleweight division. He's not fought one welterweight yet in the UFC welterweight division. And you talk about his good win against Brave. He beat Ikram Alaskov. He was 8-0 at the time. And he's a very good fighter. He's obviously coming off 2 really good wins, one a couple of weeks ago in Brave. And he knocked him out, and that was at middleweight. So I feel like, I don't get what I know he wants to be a welterweight, but I feel like no one's talking about any ranked opponents in the middleweight division, and I feel like that would make more sense. So if you're going to do him at welterweight, you could do him against Rocco Martin or someone like that before you fight. At least fight someone in the welterweight division first before you get top 5.
Give him Anthony Pettis.
Yeah, exactly. Is he ranked in the welterweight division?
Yeah, 15. 15.
because he would win that probably. To be honest, he probably would win it quite easily, just the way he would take him down. Probably we saw Diego Ferreira fight. Now, obviously that wraps up what happened last week. It was a good card. I think there was a lot of good prospects in the card. Obviously had quite a lot of decisions on it. There wasn't much standout performances, but there were a lot of good performances away from Israel and Jan. Obviously now this week is Holm versus Aldana. And it's got a lot of good prospects on the card. It's got Charles Jourdain on the card. It's got Roman Bombi, who had a great fight against Andrea Hill last time out. But the first fight we have of the card is Justin Ayari versus Luigi Vendrami. I'm assuming Luigi's got Italian blood from his name. I think his name is called the Italian Stallion. So I'll be rooting for him because I'm half Italian. So obviously I'm hoping he can win. They both took long layoffs. I think Vendrami has had more of a layoff than Justin Ayari by a month, I think it is. They both last fought in 2018. Vendrami lost to Alaski Dos Santos, which is no shame in. Dos Santos is a very good fighter. But that was in the welterweight division. He's coming down to fight Ayari, who again has not fought since I think August of 2018. How do you see this fight going?
Yeah, man. I mean, this is a little bit like bottom UFC right now. I think. Thing is, with Ayari, he is 1-2 in the UFC, and honestly, I should have been 0-3 because I've been to his debut in Hamburg. I was there, and he lost that fight to Wallhead, in my opinion. I don't know how he got. Yeah, he got probably the victory because he's from Hamburg. So that's how I saw it. Everybody was going crazy over there. I was in the stances, so I know. But I don't think he won that fight. Vendramini, he's training at Alpha Male right now, I think. Didn't look really good against Zaleski, but I mean, Zaleski's a good fighter, very, very strong fighter, like top 20 welterweight. I'm taking Vendramini here, man. I think Vendramini gets it done, unanimous decision. 30-27, something like that. I think he is the more talented fighter in this one.
And obviously, Vendrami is only 24 years old. He's a young guy. I think he made his debut at 22. So I feel like he's got a lot of potential in him. He's not fought the best of guys, but I'm not sure if he's fought at lightweight before. But hopefully this is a new division for him where he can settle in, and hopefully he can start with a good win over Justin Ayari for him. And I agree with you. I think it will be a bad decision win for him, and hopefully he can move up to 9-1 in his case. Next fight, we have a really good fight between Casey Kenny and Haley Alatong. Don't let Alatong's record fool you. He's 14-7-1, but he's a very good fighter, I feel. He's got good wins over Donna Batgarel, who's a good fighter, and Ryan Benoit. He's someone that doesn't use his best assets, I don't think. I don't think he uses his wrestling enough, and that's obviously his strongest point, I feel. I think he's fallen in love with the striking a bit too much, and I feel like against a guy like Casey Kenny, he might need to keep this fight standing because Casey Kenny is a very, very good guy on the ground. He saw him against Louis Smoker. Obviously, he got out-wrestled against Merab Dvalishvili, but Merab Dvalishvili is a very good fighter himself, top 15 guy now. I think it's a very high-level bantamweight bout between two guys. And well, Casey Kenny is more top 25 guy than Haley is probably top 30 guy. How do you see this fight going?
Yeah, an interesting fight. Although I think Casey Kenny is the better fighter in this one. I think he's more all around. He can wrestle. He can punch. Haley Alatang, he looked good in his two fights in the UFC. I think the first one was a fight of the night against Dana Batgarel, and then he won a split decision over Ryan Benoit. I mean, overall, if you have to look at this fight, I think Casey Kenny will win this fight like 9 out of 10 times, in my opinion, because he's just an overall better fighter. I think Alatang is a fun fighter. He comes forward. He wants to strike. Kenny is overall more technical, I think. So I'm definitely taking Casey Kenny. And I think he puts him away via submission in the third round, late third round.
I think I've got Kenny here as well. I don't think he'll submit him. I think Haley's very good on the ground himself, so I think he'll win by submission. And after this, I think Kenny will probably get a top 15 guy, hopefully. And he's a very good prospect in the division to look out for. Next, we have Loma Lukbonmi versus Jinyu Fry. Jinyu Fry's obviously coming off. I think it was a good performance against Kay Hansen. She looked good for quite a lot of the fight, and then she got caught in a submission by Kay Hansen. But for the majority of it, she looked very good. She's very experienced. She's come from Invicta. I think she came in the atomweight division. I think she was a world champion in the atomweight division. So obviously she's moved up to strawweight because obviously UFC don't have that division. But here I think she's the bigger girl compared to Loma Lukbonmi, who's quite small as well. She's a very good fighter, though. She took Andrea Hill to a very close decision. I thought she could have won that fight. I'm not sure whether that's popular opinion or not, but I thought it was a very good fight, very close fight, and I think she'll win here. She's younger. She's obviously got a wealth of Muay Thai fights herself. She's fought in the in MMA, obviously, so not very experienced compared to Jinyu Fry, who's got 14 fights, I think it is, as a pro. But I think Loma's got a lot of A-side to her. She's younger. She's very good in the clinch. She's a very good striker. I think she'll get it done. How do you see it going? By decision, I think she'll win.
Yeah, man, it's basically two atom weights fighting at strawweight, right? I mean, Jinju Fry, she came to UFC, was former champion of Invicta. She had pretty solid debut until she got submitted by Kay Hansen. Loma Lukbonmi, she is a very good striker, she only got trouble when they tried to take it to the ground, I think. I don't think Jinju definitely wants to take it to the ground. I think she also loves the standing fight. So I have to favor Loma Lukbonmi here and taking a unanimous decision as well. I don't think either one is going to get a finish here.
Next fight we have is Jordan Williams versus Nasruddin Imavov, and I think Imavov will win. I'm very high on him. I think he looked really good in Aries' debut promotion in their first ever event in Senegal in October last year, I think it was, or it might have been December. He looked really good against not Jordan Main, I can't remember what his name was, Jonathan Meunier, something like that, I think it was. Obviously Jordan Williams also came from the Contender Series, coming off a good win. He got a controversial last 2 rounds in Magomedov in his latest outing in the Contender Series before the one he had a couple of weeks ago. He's 9-3, very good fighter as well. I've seen more of Imavov, and I think his wrestling is very good. I think he'll win by decision. What do you think about it?
It's a tough fight for me to pick in this one because I think Imavov is a good fighter, but his opponents aren't that great. He fought the last one, Jonathan Meunier. He's a former UFC fighter. He went to boxing, I think, and then he fought in MMA last time, French fighter. Jordan Williams looked solid during the Contender Series the first time. The second time he lost to Ramazan Kuramagomedov. Dana wasn't agreeing with that. I did. I think Kuramagomedov did enough in that fight. Didn't sign both. Came back. Williams was supposed to fight Jordan Wright, I think, in the second week, but Wright got also signed with the UFC, and then Williams took the short notice opponent against Gregory. What's his name again? RoboCop.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. Yeah, great win, man, for him. And then your camera was gone. Yeah, I think Williams is gonna get this fight, man. I think Imavov's wrestling is good, like you said, but I think Williams knocks him out probably in the first or second round. I think if it goes to the scorecards, Imavov has a good chance to win it, but I'm taking Williams by finish here.
Next up, we've got Joshua Kulabau versus Charles Jourdain. I think we'll see Kulabau's real division. He was obviously oversized in his last fight against Jolin Turner. I think it was at lightweight division. So he took that fight on very short notice as well. Yeah. He didn't look in the best of shape, obviously, but it's not his fault. He wasn't expecting to fight that week, and I think he took it on. I think it was a couple of days' notice. So he's a natural featherweight, I think. But I think Charles Jourdain will win. I think Charles Jourdain's a very good prospect. He's coming off a loss to Andre Philly, but Philly's a very, I don't want to call him a gatekeeper, but he kind of is in terms of, if you beat him, you're going to go into the top 15. If you don't, you're kind of sticking around top 25, top 30 level. He's also coming off a win over, before that fight, he beat Do Hoi Choi, which was a very good win at the time in South Korea as well. So I think he'll win. I think Jourdain's got enough tools to win. I wasn't that impressed with Kulabal, but like I said, he came on short notice. It wasn't really his division. So we shall see what kind of Kulabal will turn up. What do you think of it?
Yeah, man, I think Charles Jourdain looked very good lately, man. I think he had a debut against Desmond Green, right? Didn't really look good there. Took some time off, came back. Very surprising win for me against Do Ho Choi in South Korea. I didn't expect that. And his fight with Feely, he lost that one, but he looked good in that fight, man. I was it a split decision, I think? At least it was close. I don't know anymore. But he looked good in that fight. Kulibao goes back to featherweight now. He made his debut in lightweight against Jalen Turner. Short notice fight. Can't really say too much about it. Didn't really look good, but very short notice. Safe pick here is Charles Jourdain. I think he wins this fight. And I'm going with a TKO in the second round. And I wouldn't be surprised, man, if Kulibao turns it around and looks good, man, because we didn't really see the real Kulibao yet in the UFC.
Do you know where he trains out of? It's not. Is it City Kickboxing or is he train out somewhere else?
I don't know, man. I can look it up for you, but I don't know exactly, man. I know he hangs around with those guys, but it's like Aussies and New Zealanders in Abu Dhabi. They can go along, you know. But I don't know if he trains at City Kickboxing. Let me check.
It says here that he trains at Igor MMA.
Okay.
Which is in Sydney, New South Wales. So
I see. Yeah.
It says that he's the only fighter there as well. So that's a bit odd. So he must go to City Kickboxing to get some sparring in because he can't be the only guy at a gym and not spar. So I'm assuming it's like he alternates between the two. I assume.
I see here. Jamie Malarkey is also at that gym.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
He is a good fighter himself. Also, he made his debut against Brad Riddle. We've not seen him since. I think he was meant to have a fight like sometime earlier this year, which got pulled off. So we shall hopefully he can get a fight rebooked himself. So
yeah, he has one against Faraz Yam, October 17, I think. Yeah, that was like a few days ago. It's announced. It's a good fight for both guys, man. Both coming off a loss. And they can try to get the first win in the UFC. So,
yeah. Next is Carlos Condit versus Court McGee. Obviously, I've not really seen these two fight in the primes because I'm fairly new to the sport. So, I think I say that every podcast, but I'm not too sure how good these guys were. I know Condit was a high level welterweight at his time. Court McGee, I can only judge from what I've seen of him against guys like Sean Brady. I don't really have much of a good read on this. I don't really know much about these two really. So I'll just let you give your predictions and what you think how the fight will play out.
Yeah, Court McGee won the Ultimate Fighter as Liddell's coach back then, and Court McGee was declared 2 times, I think, clinical death for an overdose. He came back clean. And he won that Ultimate Fighter. Was pretty cool, I think. He's been just how do you say that? Somebody who is good in the division, but you don't think he will be a champion. You know, he's just somebody who. Yeah, it's not even a gatekeeper. I think, in my opinion, it's even below that. But he is also not bad. You know, it's not like if you win against Court McGee, you're gonna be in the top 10 for sure. I don't think so. Carlos Condit, former interim champion, won against Nick Diaz back then. Former WEC champion, very high-level fighter, but not as good anymore as he was before, you know. So he needs this win. Court McGee is also a guy who, if he wants to stay relevant in the division, he needs his win as well. I think it will be a close fight. If I have to look like pure technique, I have to go with Condit here, but it's so hard to pick Condit, at this moment. So 50-50, I'm taking Carlos Condit by the closest of split decisions there can ever be. And a lot of rumor or a lot of tumult on Twitter after this fight because the other guy should have won or this guy should have won. And there's an absolute robbery that's going to happen. That's what I think. And your camera have frozen. And I hear your background, but I don't hear you anymore.